Welcome back, once again, to our Zone of the Enders series retrospective. Today, we'll be taking a look at Zone of the Enders, the second runner, which somehow manages to improve almost every aspect of the original, which is a pretty impressive feat. So join me, Fade Dragonteer, as we talk about one of my favorite games of all time. This time, you take the role of Dingo Egret, part of a mining team working on one of Jupiter's moons named Callisto. Pursuing a strange reading, he stumbles upon the Z.O.E, hidden underground. At the same time, the terrorist force Bahram begins their assault of Callisto. Dingo fights his way through the Bahram forces, but is eventually subdued by Anubis. Dingo is then captured and confronted by Noman, Bahram's leader, and Ken Marineris, the person in charge of the raid on Callisto. Dingo is shot 4 times by Noman, and Ken is told to dispose of the body. 2 months later, Dingo awakens inside Z.O.E's cockpit, revived by Ken, who declares herself a spy from the Space Force, and informs Dingo that his vital functions are now tied to Z.O.E. Any attempt to exit the frame will result in his termination. So without much choice, Dingo sets out under the guidance of Ken to fight Bahram on Mars. Z.O.E. handles more or less the same way it did in the original game, with Ada now able to lock on to multiple targets, but with all the programs from the previous game lost. Which means, once again, as you progress through the game, you'll earn new, more powerful abilities to aid your fight. The setting is much more varied than in the original game, giving you a lot more eye candy, but in a linear fashion, which means less freedom, but also no backtracking or repetitive level design. You are also placed in a setting where you don't have to hold back Z.O.E's destructive potential, with only small nods to the be responsible for your actions theme of the first game, and replacing it with kicking some major ass as you take the fight to the enemy's front door. Speaking of the enemy, all the enemy frames from the original game make a return, as well as several new types to keep you on your toes. Of course, boss fights also return in full force, and they are top notch, each with their own unique style and weapons. Dingo meets with Leo, who is more mature and battle-hardened from when we last saw him. He informs Dingo of Z.O.E's programming to self-destruct inside Dingo's destination, Bahram's superweapon, Amon. Dingo decides that if he destroys Amon, there would be no need for Z.O.E to self-destruct. Leo places his trust in Dingo, and after upgrading Z.O.E's systems, the pair head to Amon to confront Noman. The final boss sequence here is amazing, with Z.O.E and Anubis finally clashing on equal ground, going blow for blow in a beautiful ballet of battle. The ending is a lot more rewarding than the original. Anubis is defeated by Z.O.E, but not before Noman activates Amon. Ada begins the self-destruct countdown. At the last moment, Dingo uses Anubis' frame to destroy Amon, saving the solar system from disaster, and sparing Z.O.E and Ada from their programming. Afterwards, Dingo is shown reuniting with Ken and Leo. Ken promises Dingo his old body back, and in return, Dingo announces his trust in Ken. Leo looks towards the damaged Z.O.E as the ending credits roll. This is one of my favorite games of all time. The beautiful animation, the badass main character, and airtight gameplay all come together nicely. So if you haven't played this game yet, what are you waiting for? Go check it out. Once again, this was Fade Dragonteer. Until Zone of the Enders 3, peace out.